Well, hello, Freire Charter High School, and Sam Hart from Dlivrd Technologies. She is a project manager. We get to meet you. You're familiar with our show, so you know the format. So, Sam, tell us a little bit in one or two sentences. What is Dlivrd Technologies, and what do you do as a project manager?
Delivered Technologies encompasses, I think 13 additional solutions now. And our focus used to be primarily delivery tech, but we also, um, real a partnership company. We focus on helping restaurants and organizations grow their revenue through meaningful technology.
Dlivrd Technologies started off as a not delivery company. They just wanted to elevate the experience and the whole vibe of when people would order catering, and it started off with that. I know the CEO pretty well. I've interviewed him a couple of times, so I can tell a little bit of the story. And then they've acquired all these other companies, so that's why they're now Dlivrd Technologies. And Sam gets to travel the world and being an awesome project manager. So Sam, tell us, where did you grow up, and where are you currently located? I already announced Colombia, but like, where's your base?
I grew up primarily in central Pennsylvania, about 30 minutes outside of State College, but bounced around a whole lot. So moved a few times, and I landed outside of Philadelphia and in Northeast Philadelphia. And I've been there for, oh, 15, 20.
All right. So you are definitely a Philly local now.
Okay.
Between middle school and high school, that time frame, what kept you busy? What were you doing?
I was doing a lot of different things. I tried a couple sports, none of them stuck. I spent a lot of time reading and listening to music. Wasn't the most social person. It definitely wasn't the most like I was and was not a school focused, academics focused student, you know, depending on the year.
Right.
But a lot of that was also spent like that middle school to high school. I have a younger brother, single parent household. So a lot of my time outside school was, caretaker as well.
Okay. All right. So because I know a little bit about your history already, before this current role, what was one step or decision that changed the direction of your path?
Before this current role, there's been so many directions that I've gone in. And I think saying yes has really been like the key for me, but also like I wanted to be here. I was employee number 2, and I knew my friend Gemma was employee number 1, and I would see her working all the time. And I was like, I want to be a part of that. And she was like, no. And I was like, no, no, no. I really do though. Let me in the door. And I think that's where it kind of took off.
That's awesome. I feel like I can go into 10 different other directions with your relationship with the company. As you guys have heard, she was employee number 2. So that is how close she is to the CEO who started the business. But I want to rewind a little bit back to your college years, right? So you said that you tried a bunch of different things in middle school and high school, didn't really get into it, and then I also know that you tried different things in college, and you still are where you are today. Can you share a little bit about that
Yes.
experience?
Where are we? Four colleges, 3 majors, no degrees. I really spent a lot of time trying to figure out what my career path looked like. And I've always been kind of spread out. And so I had a hard time like saying, I'm going to fully devote myself to this one thing in this one path. And it kind of led me to a career where I don't have to.
Right.
Right.
Right. So what I'm hearing is that between middle school and high school, you had your hands in a bunch of different things, didn't fully commit to it. You kind of seen the same kind of pattern in your
Yep.
college years and now in your career, that it didn't require you to have a degree. You're still doing big things, and you're still the second employee ever hired by this amazing CEO.
Yeah, I think, if I had known that this sort of role or this sort of job is something that existed, growing up, it was always you go to school, you decide what you're going to do. That is your major in college. That is what your job will be for the rest of eternity. And it didn't kind of come to light until much later that there are these alternate career paths that allow you to experience different things and be different places, you know.
And all it took was your buddy Gemma that was like, "Hey, get on board." So that is why we exist as Access co-leader is to be able to hear these different opportunities, meet people, network, and know that you guys have these people who really want to get these doors open for you. That said, let's go shift over to our students and have them interview you. All right, Makai, I'm going to unmute you. Okay.
A day in the life as a program or project manager, what does that look like?
Well, it's a lot of organization, whether it's the projects themselves or people, it's a lot of active problem solving. If a department or a solution has a project that they're working on, I'm getting Slack messages or people are popping over to my desk or, things like that. And my role is to remove the blocker. So it's just answering questions, helping people.
Helping people and ironing out problems. That's project management in
Yeah.
2 sentences. Let's go to Jordan. Jordan, what's your first question? I'm gonna unmute you. There you go.
First question was I do went to the art institution and I wanted to know like how that was going in there.
It was definitely a very worthwhile experience. The Art Institute isn't there anymore. I did a year fashion marketing or fashion merchandising was my major. And I took a lot of things away from it as far as just a continued appreciation of art and understanding how art and business can coexist. So I think it was definitely a very valuable experience.
Awesome. Do you feel like you're using anything from your experience at the Art Institute with your job now with Dlivrd Technologies?
Absolutely. Um, and primarily from a space of being able to think creatively and problem solve outside of the box. A lot of times in tech, we're very linear, like, you know, this plus this equals this. And that's how you kind of run your life. But having that art background, that creative background kind of gives you the ability to see the problems from a different angle and maybe come up with some more human based approaches.
It's awesome. Awesome. All right, like Tatiana, what's your first question?
I wanted to ask what was a struggle that you had going into your career and how did you get over it?
There were a lot of struggles going into my career. I've had a great many jobs. Again, it took a long time to figure out what I wanted to do with my skill set. I wouldn't say like it was like I didn't pull myself up by my bootstraps or anything like that. But what I did was say, okay, this isn't working for me and keep going. That just pushing forward to the next opportunity or the next possibility. So I think that's the main thing that helped me through that and get to a place where I can use my skills.
I love that it's skill focused, right? Like you know that you have the skills and you're gonna be able to get through those challenges. Great question, Tatiana. Let's try, is it Samantha? Can you pronounce your first name for
It's
me, please?
Samantha.
Samantha. Okay. Samantha. Ooh, Sam and Samantha.
Yeah.
What's your first question?
My question is how has the rise in AI either been helpful or harmful in your job?
That is a really good question. Um, People are really either very pro AI or very anti AI. And there's definitely ways where I can see how it's negatively impacted the industry. Anytime you take humans out of the equation, you do lose a level of empathy, you do lose a level of connection. And that can be hard when you're in a service role. But there's ways as, in my organization, what I try to push for, there's ways to use AI to enhance what you've already
Mm,
got. So enhance your time management skills, enhance your presentation skills without having to use it to rely on your knowledge or your industry knowledge, whatever you've got living in the back of your brain. So if you use it as a tool instead of using it as a personality, I think that AI can be incredibly helpful.
I agree 1,000%, Sam. Thank you for emphasizing that you're still the human, right? The work still needs to get done, and AI is just an awesome tool, resource to optimize and get more efficient in your day and in the skills. Let's go back to Makai. Ooh, actually, pause there. Mr. Joe.
Thank you so much. I was just curious, working internationally, what has been like the biggest adjustment for you, like, or something you had to learn in business etiquette?
There's a lot of cultural differences, and I think what I've had to kind of adjust to, and not so much myself, but helping my teammates who are down here in Colombia understand like cultural differences in how we communicate, our tone, and being able to navigate like, are you speaking to a driver? Are you speaking to a more blue collar sort of individual? Or who are you speaking to like on the other end? And kind of managing those communication standards, I think is the hardest thing.
So are you saying that there's different levels like we would in normal, when you're speaking to a high level ranking person, you would speak differently to your peer?
Absolutely. And that looks different in every culture. And I think that that's an important takeaway when you're doing that. But also, when we're communicating, I will throw back to we have a wonderful coworker here who does English enrichment for our team. And she points out things like when you're speaking in all of the idioms that we use and the phrasal verbs that just don't translate. Like, so being aware of the verbiage that we're using and how that can come across is a big key.
Interesting. That's cool. That's cool. So, Sam mentioned earlier she's currently in Colombia, but then she'll be in Dubai. So she's going. I was gonna say, if there's, have you been picking up the languages and all of that? But you're traveling around a lot.
I try my best with Spanish. I'm not the greatest. I read it better than I speak it, but picking up little bits, like I find in traveling, people are happy that you try, even if it's not perfect.
People are happy if you try, even if it's not perfect. I think that's applicable to even outside languages. Let's try Jordan. Let's see if you're connected now. You have a question? A question?
What your childhood life was like how you led up to the job you did now.
My childhood life, I think it definitely kind of prepared me for the job I have now, being so involved in the care of my little brother, being not isolated, but in a much more rural area. There was a lot of time to think and a lot of time that was just, me and a 2-year-old. So learning how to kind of manage those things and what I didn't necessarily see as career skills, like, you know, teaching him how to ride a bike or teaching him to read is very similar to how I teach people to use systems and how I implement systems now. So I think a lot of that kind of played into where I am.
Good. Jordan, let's see, Jordan, what would you like to do? Or what are your thoughts after high school?
What I want to do after high school is I don't have a set career I want to do. I just know that I'm going to go into college for like arts and design.
Similar to Sam. Sam, do you have any encouragement for Jordan?
Yeah, absolutely. I think art and design, you can't go wrong with an art background because it really applies everywhere. It allows you to be open to ideas. It allows you to be open to things that aren't necessarily me. So I think that arts is always a good field to go into. What made you want to start there?
Sorry, art major like types or just like art in general. Well, I've always like done art. I
Yeah,
come from like a family that does different types of art,
for sure.
whether it be music, writing, or painting. So I always kind of knew I would want to do it. So I don't know what I'm going to do it with in college, but I know that I want to major in it.
It,
I'm more excited to learn about like different ways art can be interpreted into the world or like how it can be used for good. Especially as I'm doing my senior project on like musical arts being used for like political and world issues right now. So that's what I'm excited for.
really interesting. I think that's
That is so
that is a big
interesting.
one right now when we look at like the soundtrack of our lives, right? And why these music means what it does. That's pretty cool.
For the sake of time, since we have a few more students, we want to get to know them a little bit more. Let's go to Tatiana. Tatiana, what are your plans after high school?
Um, honestly, I'm kind of interested in studying the human mind and being able to like pick through how people think and why they they are the way they are just by knowing like little things about their childhood or even just how they react to certain situations. It's kind of interesting knowing so little, but it can gain so much.
Psychology is definitely an interesting background. It's an interesting thing to want to study. Recently, just actually yesterday, did a workshop where we had a whole conversation about memory and the capacity of the human brain when it comes to organization. So I think that's a great jumping off point. It's applicable in so many careers.
Yeah. Sam, where have you seen psychology applied to Dlivrd Technologies and how you guys are, moving internationally?
Well, there's a lot of different places where it comes into play because we have several driver apps. So we have to really be in touch with, the emotions and the user experience of the people that are using our app, whether it is a driver or it is a customer, and really be able to get to the bottom of what their needs are as an organization. And that does require a lot of understanding of like feelings because food is an emotional
Right.
thing for a lot of people. So we use that there. As a project manager, I rely on research and understanding base level understanding of psychology when I'm creating workshops or seminars and I have to educate people that are coming from different backgrounds and might have had different life paths that have led them to either work with us or work for us. So there's a lot of space for it here in DTI.
Excellent. DTI. Oh, I haven't heard that. Tatiana, have you been able to use any of the knowledge that you have with psychology in any of your current situations in school or any of the anything you're involved in?
I wouldn't say in school, but I would say for myself, I was able to like use what I want to do to kind of start and organize my own brain because, it starts with myself. So being able to, spread out my field and see where I have to go or where I want to go, and then just all over doing better in school so I can get to where I want to be.
That's awesome, Tatiana. You're off to a great start when you start thinking and applying that to your own self. I'm excited to hear where you're going to take that. Let's jump over to Makai. Makai, what are your plans after high school?
I'd like to become a mechanical engineer.
Come on. When did you realize you wanted to go into engineering?
In class, mostly around seventh, sixth grade, I would always just make things. I would make paper airplanes, mostly paper airplanes. I learned how to do origami for a bit, fell off on that. And I just like building things. I like the process and I like the impact of building something. It makes me feel good.
Awesome. So physically, you like to build things, but
Mm.
I know Delivered in just the past 3 years, they have built a giant company. Sam, can you speak to a little bit about engineering and how that's applicable to Delivered Technologies?
Yeah, so we have a huge crew of engineers. So on our dev team, because we do build, we build apps and there's a lot of integrations that are necessary. So there is a need for very process oriented, very like mindful construction. And then beyond that, even when it comes to building our organizational memory, which includes like all of our documentation, there are careers that are specifically engineering of organizations. And that's a whole nother animal. But we do have some industrial engineers on our team as well, and they help us greatly, with making sure that everything that we do is sustainable and scalable.
That's awesome. Do you have an idea of what kind of engineer? I know you said mechanical, but is there a type of company that you want to work for, an industry?
I'm looking to go into the DoD, the Department of Defense.
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely have to have a conversation on the side. I spent many years in the Air Force, so I'm slightly familiar with that. Good for you. That's awesome. Let's go to Samantha. What are your plans after high school?
Plan to go to college for business management.
All right. When did you realize you wanted to go into business?
I would say it's always been a passion of mine to do something business related.
Awesome. Sam,
Thinking
take it away.
like an entrepreneur? Are you thinking you'd like to work for a corporation? Where do you see
I'd
that?
like to open my own business.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. That is the Chris Heffernans of the world. I envy you guys. It is wanting to be a business owner is an incredible thing because it's also like, aside from all of the work and all of the effort, being able to put your name on something that lasts is pretty incredible. So kudos to you.
Samantha, what kind of business are you thinking about?
Well, currently I'm thinking about a bookstore.
That's amazing. Look at Sam.
I
Sam, she's
love
excited
it.
about
I
that because
love
she's
it.
a reader too.
Yes. Yes, so much. And there's not many left. There's not many left. So that's incredible. Inspiring people to read is an amazing activity.
Samantha, what steps are you taking in the direction of going into business and opening up your own business?
I just started taking a business course at CCP that can help.
Okay, so you're taking classes with that. Sam Hart. Is there any other steps that you would recommend or you can encourage Samantha to take as she's in this path?
Absolutely. I think if you are really looking to start a business, having a project management tool or a slight project management background is excellent because organization is going to be super key when it comes to finances, stock, keeping everything running smoothly, and being able to prepare.
That's awesome. That's good. That's good. Um, yeah, I've heard actually your CEO share if you're into business, figure out what area of the business that interests you the most. And then if not, have the experts come in. Somebody else, numbers will come easy to them or the marketing will come easy to them. So I think that's some other wisdom to share that I have picked up from the team at Delivered. Let's go back to Tatiana. As we start to wrap up here, what's one thing you heard today that resonated with you or that surprised you learning from Sam today?
One thing I heard today was the quotes, like, they'll be happy if you try at all. I really like that because, like, even though you were talking about languages, it's really good to place that into everything you do because the first thing you have to do is try. And I feel like I can incorporate that into my schoolwork and, my later college path or just my life in general.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Good, Tatiana. Jordan, I know that that you have similar interests as Sam. Is there something that you picked up from Sam today that makes you even more curious about it or that's changed your mind or that surprised you about Sam's pathway to where she is today?
I was saying that one thing that I found like interesting or I learned was like when I had asked her the question about her childhood and how basically helping like her brother or raise her brother, if that's the term you would use, she like kind of helped like unexpectedly like set her up for certain stuff.
That's good. Good. It all matters, right, Sam? Let's go back to Makai. What about you? What resonated with you? What surprised you hearing Sam's story?
What was it? 4 colleges and 3 majors? That was a very surprising thing to hear, but you still became successful. Very, very inspirational.
That's why we keep having Sam back because she continues to inspire me.
I would say what resonated with me was also the college thing because she did mention going to a lot of colleges, but she still manages to come out successful. So I think that like shows that it's okay to fail before you succeed.
Yes, that's resiliency. That said, so is Skylar. Skylar, you're pretty persistent. You've come back on several times and you are fighting to get in there. So we just want to cheer Skylar on. We are down to the last couple minutes here, Sam. I want to give these last couple minutes to you. What final words of encouragement or wisdom would you share with our students from Freire Charter High School?
Yeah. Keep going. Like you said, you will fail. Failure happens to all of us. And every time you do it, it's a little bit less. The falls aren't as far the second and third and fourth time. But just keep on moving and keep saying yes to the opportunities that present themselves to you, even if it doesn't seem at first like it might be a perfect fit. There's an opportunity to learn something about yourself and what you want out of your career.
That's awesome. Awesome. Look, you got the applause from Mr. Henley. Joe, do you have any final comments for your students? Thank you again for being flexible and persistent with our new technology here.
No, yeah, thank you for joining us from Columbia. And yeah, they learned a lot. I appreciate it. And yeah, just some growing pains with new technology, but we'll get there. Thank you again.